You are about to level up. And why do I know this? Because I know a lot of guys who watch this channel are on the brink of doing something absolutely amazing with their music. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you how to use some conventional sounds in unconventional ways, and that's what we're gonna use as the basis for our ambient music track. Feel free to follow along in any other DAW of your choice, and I'll be using a mixture of free and paid software. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Where I thought we'd start is with ZYKLØP. I'm gonna use a sound of rain and feed it through ZYKLØP, and that's what we're gonna use to start off our track, all right? So grab ZYKLØP if you got it, and we'll put it onto our first track here. And what we're gonna do is use a sound from the free to use sounds library. I always leave the link down below in the description for this library. It's one of the greatest libraries of free sounds available on the planet. And what I'll use is one from the Spain collection. This is rain coming onto the bottom of an umbrella. So we'll use that, and we're gonna drag this over and use resynthesize V2. And it's gonna take a while because it's a really long sample. But what we're gonna do is use some of the filters in here and some of the frequency modulation capabilities of ZYKLØP to really give us a nice organic start. So I'll go ahead and play some notes here. Here, let's get some rain sound. Some car horns in the background. Now this is really cool, but let's take this up a notch, all right? So we're gonna add some frequency modulation to this. Oh yeah, right? And you can hear we're starting to get that organic, natural quality out of the sound, okay? Let's go ahead and add a gain here just to give it a little more volume. Oh yeah, there you go. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a filter here. Now I'm gonna choose the comb filter. I'm also gonna move it from classic to physis. Now this is really interesting because now we're getting a resonation effect. And I'll turn the pitch all the way up to 24 dB. And now we've got something that almost sounds like some sort of Ableton Live effect, right? Gorgeous. Turn up the amount. Kind of play with that. We might even be able to modulate that. Ooh, that's a good idea. I like that. So let's leave it right here. Let's take a LFO and we will undo the retrig and we'll put it on, say, 4 bars. And then what we'll do is we'll sync it up and I'll use a jitter. This is my favorite trick to do in ZYKLØP. I'll use a jitter and then I'll use a soft. And what that's gonna do, and I'll turn the rise and fall up on soft. And what that's gonna do, it's gonna give us a kind of random LFO here. You'll see what the output is in a second. And I'll use that on the filter on the amount. So I'll select the amount and then select LFO2, turn up the amount there. So now we're moving the amount of this physis filter up and down. I like that. Yeah, giving something more natural and organic. We'll do the same thing to the FM amount here. Oh my God, that's crazy. I like it. I like it. Maybe we'll slow that LFO down to, say, 8 bars. Slow changes over time. Excellent. So now we're off and running here. And what we'll do is we'll add, of course, we'll add maybe an OTT here. Turn on the wet a little bit. Add some highs. And we'll add a shimmer reverb. Turn the shift up to 1 octave higher. Turn the size up and turn the wet down to around 10 to 15%. And finally, we'll add a clouds reverb on the end. Turn up the space, turn up the size, turn up the lush, take down the earlies, and play with your dry wet until you're happy with that. Oh my gosh. That's what I'm talking about. So again, we got here with just a single sample of rain and a free synthesizer known as ZYKLØP. Lots of potential here. Lots and lots of potential. I'm gonna turn down the wet. Let's leave it like this. And maybe we'll use this to start off our track. So I'll go ahead and lay in some notes here. Put the length up around 8 bars. Turn the fixed grid to 8 bars. Hit the right arrow key, and we're off and running. There we go. So now we've got, you know, ZYKLØP doing its thing. You can add some extra delay, extra reverb if we want. Incredible. So you can hear, with just simple processing techniques, you already get something that sounds intriguing. And that's what I'm talking about leveling up. How do you take things to the next level, right? Let's add a bass sound to this. Just like we did the other day in the video. I'm gonna rename this. Name this ZYKLØP Rain. Let's add a nice deep bass as the basis for our drone. Okay, we'll choose Vital here, of course. Gotta go with Vital. By the way, I'm playing in C# minor, and I'll choose C#0. Turn the filter to 24 dB. That's what I'm talking about. And we'll adjust our filter position until we're happy with that. I'm gonna add some voices of unison here. Maybe like 5 voices of unison. Lower down the detune amount so we get some motion in our bass. And we'll take an LFO. We'll switch it from trigger to sync, and we'll make this say 4/1. And we'll use that LFO, drag it over to the cutoff slider. There we go. Excellent. So now we have a nice bass note to our drone. Let's add some modulation here. A little harmonic stretch. Use that same LFO on the harmonic stretch, ever so slightly. And we'll use, say, a squeeze. And we'll use that same LFO on squeeze. Again, subtle touches of modulation here go a long way. Then we'll use this as 8/1. There we go. Nice slow modulating bass. And what you can do is come over to the effects, turn on the compressor, take the lows down, take the highs down, turn down the mix, take the attack down, and we'll use a distortion module. And what I like to do is use a sinefold distortion, turn up the drive, but then turn down the mix a lot, just to give it a little extra punch. You can modulate this drive with a random. So we'll take a random, we'll sync it up, say 2/1, modulate the drive here, make it bipolar. Oh yeah, there we go. So now you can see on the oscilloscope that sinefold distortion really kicking in there. Nice. Oh yeah, I like that. Let's go ahead and make a new MIDI clip here. Double click, 8 bars long. Do the same technique we did earlier. Set the fixed grid to 8 bars. Make sure the headphone button is turned on and just hold down the key you're playing and hit the right arrow key. Launch the whole scene. There we go. Excellent. So you can hear that now we have a nice foundation. I like that. All right, let's name this Vital Bass. Oh yeah, okay. Now let's add a nice soft pad layer. So we're gonna use the rain sound and ZYKLØP and add a texture. I'm gonna use ZYKLØP again because I really like the fact that we're using a free synthesizer here, so you guys can get the most out of this, but at the same time, you're learning how to create these deep, gorgeous, lush textures. So again, we're gonna use an initialized patch here. So just hit init. And what I'll do is I'll grab a wavetable. I have tons of wavetables on my Patreon available if you want to check them out. Link is always down below in the description. So I'll grab one of these wavetables. This is from the Chromatic collection. And I'll just say resynthesize V2. Again, I just grabbed one at random. And what we'll do is we'll use this wavetable as sort of the basis of our, pad layer here. So I'm going to change the ADSR to, say, 5 seconds of attack, 5 seconds of decay. Take down the slew amount, 5 seconds of release. There we go, up the sustain a little bit. Go ahead and play a minor chord over this. Nice. Now again, using those same techniques that we did in the rain example, slow, subtle modulation, right? Oh yeah. I like that. So we'll come over to LFO1, which is our main LFO here, and we'll use a jitter, up the rate, and a soft, and up the rise and the fall time. Oh yeah. Turn down the rate a little bit. Excellent. Now let's come over to the filter, add a multi-mode filter. Start to soften it out so you can hear the rest of it. Oh yeah. Now we could use that same LFO on the filter itself. That might be useful. So we'll highlight this cutoff filter right here. Use that LFO. Oh yeah, very nice. One of my favorite things to do in ZYKLØP is use the wave generation, okay? Adds a little bit more natural synthesizer punch. If you turn on unison, maybe add like 5 voices of unison up the spread here all the way, up the detune amount. Perfect. So without any effects on this pad, you can hear how lush and gorgeous it is. Oh yeah, gotta love that. Plus with that rain resonator in the background and the bass sound, oh my goodness. Next level, like I said. Love it, absolutely love it. You could add a second wave generation here if you really want to get fancy and maybe lower the octave down. So I'd say a triangle sub bass, if you will. That's nice. And after the filter, you can add, say, an effect with a sweet. Add some sugar onto that. It's kind of like a chorus effect. Sometimes Peter makes some really unconventional sounding effects. You really don't know what they do until you try them. I love that. Now really play with that cutoff position of the filter. That's gonna make all the difference. Oh my gosh, and now let's get into some effects here. So I'll add a classic delay. Let's just add the classic delay, sync it up, put it in ping pong mode. And again, your time value may vary. I'm gonna go with dotted eighth notes. Oh yeah, that's gorgeous. Listen to that. Now, one more thing you can do is after the 2 wave generations, put a gain here. Adds a little bit more volume. Yes, yes. Very good. So now we have a dotted eighth note delay here, dotted eighth note. And we'll go with that slight shimmer reverb, okay? Up the size, up the shift to +12, lower down the wet amount, so it's just a hint of shimmer. And now we'll add a clouds reverb. Gotta love clouds. Oh yeah, up the space, take the size down to around 66%. Oh yeah. I love it, absolutely love it. Gorgeous. So, with just one wavetable, and again, this could be any wavetable you got in your library. You could make some from scratch in Vital. With just one wavetable, a couple wave generators in ZYKLØP, some, effects on our filter, and 3 effects over in the effects path. Gorgeous pad sound. Absolutely love that. Let's go ahead and double click, make another 8-bar MIDI clip here. Love it. And with this one, you can take off the fixed grid. I like to take off the fixed grid and just sort of naturally draw, what you're feeling here as far as notes go. Because pads can be much more freeform, right? Oh yeah. Take this note all the way out here. Oh my gosh, yes. I love that. There we go. Restart the scene. Very nice. Now, back over in ZYKLØP, what you can do is add a little bit of pressure, if you have it, to the filter. Come over here to cut off, add a little bit of pressure, maybe some velocity too. And maybe some key tracking. So what's gonna happen is the higher the notes get, the more open the filter is gonna get. Here the high frequencies are starting to open up. Yes. Oh, I love that. Haha. Excellent, excellent. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. We'll rename this ZYKLØP Pad. ZYKLØP Pad. There we go. So now you can hear that, like, this is a beautiful start to your track. Without much frills, without much crazy, like extra processing. It doesn't take much. And that's really the whole point here, is that you can do a lot with less. You don't really need to search for the next synth. You don't need to buy expensive gear. Like, everything that I've used here is free. So without spending too much, you can do a whole lot. All right, the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use a paid synthesizer. I'm gonna use Pigments. Now, Pigments regularly goes on sale for like 99 bucks, but I really like the synthesizer. A lot of you have it and a lot of you use it, so I'm gonna feature it here on the channel today. I'm gonna use a wavetable to start off with. I'm gonna use a wavetable from my chromatic collection. I made these wavetables in Vital, and I use them to create chromatic. I'll leave the link down below in the description for this. So I'm gonna grab one of these chromatic wavetables, and I'll grab table number 19 here. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the envelope VCA as the sort of basis for our pluck here. And I'll take the sustain all the way out of it and use the decay to make it 1.5 seconds. And I'll use that on the position slider here by dragging it over to the position slider. Now you can hear, we kind of have like our own little thing going on with the scanning of the wavetable. It kind of sounds like it's FM already, which is cool. That's exactly what we want. All right, what we're also gonna do is turn on the second engine and change it to wavetable, and we'll just move it to a sawtooth, okay? Turn on the volume if you want. Kind of get a nice mixture between the sawtooth and the wavetable. Cool. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a source of random modulation. Now come over to the random tab, and we're gonna switch it from Turing to sample and hold. Now here's the trick. You're gonna change the retrig source from legato to poly keyboard, right? And now what it's gonna do, it's gonna wait for me to play a note before it gives us a new value. And it's gonna sample that from white noise, which basically means it can be anything. So you can hear every time and see every time that I play a new note, we're getting a new value. Now what can we do with this? We can actually use this as a source of modulation all over our patch. So we'll come back over to the envelopes, we'll drag random 1 onto the decay rate here. Maybe lower this down a little bit. So now, sometimes we get a nice long note, sometimes we get a short note. That's cool, I like that. All right, you can adjust this to taste here if you want. There we go. And now what we'll do is we'll come to engine 2 here, and we'll drag random 1 up to the fold mod. We'll drag it to the pulse width mod and the phase mod. So sometimes we're getting kind of a gritty, you can hear we can turn up the modulator here. Sometimes it's getting really gritty here. We can increase the fold mod, obviously, increase the pulse width mod and the phase mod. Yeah, so sometimes we get a nice gritty patch. Ooh, yeah, like that. That's what I'm talking about. Cool. All right, now let's add some effects. So we're gonna come over to the effects tab, turn off the first 2, and we'll replace those with a multi-band compressor. We're gonna turn up the release here, add a little bit of highs when we'll turn up the high frequencies up the output here. There we go. Oh yeah, nice. We'll add a, let's say, a bit crusher here, and we'll use that random source of modulation on the downsample amount. Now be very careful with this, it can kind of go overboard real quickly. Turn up the dry wet. There we go. Nice, I like that. So sometimes we get a really bit crushed pluck here, and then finally we'll come in on the second layer. We'll say, all right, let's use a delay here. I'll use the ping pong preset. That's always good. And we'll add, say, a shimmer reverb here. I'll use just a custom preset. Feedback up, size up, turn the dry wet all the way down to around 8 or 9%. 10% is good, and we'll use a reverb here to round this off. Again, decay up, size up, pre-delay off, and the dry wet to taste, I'm gonna go with 44%. Okay, now let's use Harmony Bloom. So we're gonna use Harmony Bloom into this Pluck. So we'll rename this Pigments Pluck. Excellent, and we'll grab Harmony Bloom here. I've already got it on my track. And we're playing in C# minor here, so feel free to adjust it for the key that you're working in. I'm gonna grab Harmony Bloom, and we'll change the note collection to minor, and we'll change the root note to C#, and we'll go with pentatonic minor. Change the speed offset to all the way to 1. Adjust the free offset and the even offset to taste here, and we'll add a bunch of notes. Maybe we'll add, like, say, 56 notes. That's looking good. And maybe we'll add a couple trigger bars here. That's looking awesome. There we go. Change the loop length to around 32 and the note duration to around 5. And that should be good. Maybe turn it on the probability if you want. And let's go ahead and sync this up. And now Harmony Bloom is running. Now, before you even like play a note into Harmony Bloom, you can kind of see what it's gonna do. You can see the notes light up there. That looks good to me. I like that. With the speed offset, it's gonna change every single time, so we're always gonna get a random sequence. Okay, finally, let's go ahead and see how we did here. Let's go ahead and lower down the volume of this Pigments Pluck, turn on the gain a little bit, and we'll go ahead and set the MIDI from HB, which is Harmony Bloom. We'll set the MIDI from Harmony Bloom and set the monitor to in. Oh yeah. Let's go ahead and change the note range. There we go. Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is gorgeous. Wow, up the reverb here. Let's up the gain on our multi-band compressor. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Wow. Yes, yes. So like I said, you guys are about to level up. I mean, seriously, you're watching this channel, you're doing everything right. So all you need to do is a couple more steps. It's just a couple more notches before you really make it to the next level, okay? And I encourage you guys to experiment, try to use your tools in new ways, try to feed samples into synthesizers, use FM, use modulation in any way that you possibly can. All of these things are gonna feed into eventually what's gonna become your ascension, which is your rise to becoming the producer that you always wanted to be. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. If you want more videos like this, I am on Patreon. I do videos like this every single week. Feel free to check it out. Link is down below in the description. And yes. Thank you again, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take good care, and as always, keep your heads in the clouds and your feet planted firmly on the ground. My name is Chris from ZYKLØP Life, and we'll see you guys in the next video.